Hi, my name is Amanda Graves. I teach Spanish at Whiteland Community High School. I'm going to talk about my Element 1 model of instruction. At Whiteland, we use a Marzano high reliability schools setting. We base most of our work working towards the high reliability schools around the 10 design questions of the new art and science of teaching, including setting clear goals, providing feedback, practicing and deepening lessons, working on engagement, communicating high expectations, and building those relationships with students based on Marzano research. So how do I do that as I plan? Each quarter, students look at where they are, where they've been, or where they're going to set goals for the next quarter using a Google form, and we go back to those as we do more practice and they get more feedback, and they track that in their interactive binders with a color coding so they always know where they're at in relation to the scales and where they have been. Assessments, I use a variety of assessments, including formative assessments on a daily basis. Could be as simple as walking around, checking to see what they're doing, listening to conversations that are being had, to basic structure quizzes. So basically those building blocks. Does the student have the vocabulary and structures necessary to complete the tasks that are set before them, including speaking, reading, writing, and listening. So those are really our three main forms of assessment. We have a formal assessment, so I know, or informal assessment, so I know if they're getting it or not. Those basic accountability quizzes, are you making sure that you have the building blocks to do the skills that you need? And then those skill assessments, after the first one, we have more practice and feedback, and then they can try it up to 5 times a quarter to improve upon those as we add in more structures and more vocabulary and try to build upon their skills. 3, how do I submit that information to them? Content for the unit is chunked and presented to the students in order to help them build their language abilities. Students utilize their interactive notebook to organize and work with the new information and practice in class using a variety of strategies related to essential learnings. It's just a fancy way of saying, here's the vocab, here are the structures that you need. Let's see it in a reading. Let's hear it in a listening. Let's use it to talk. Let's use it in a conversation, and then let's write it. Let's see how well we can use that in writing or speaking or recognize it in listening. And so we'll practice those type of activities after they have the basic tools to do it, because those are things that get better with more meaningful practice. Speaking of practice, most rote memorization practice is done at home through practice on an online program called ContinueGamos.com. So a lot of that procedural thing they do at home online, and then using it within skills they do at school to get feedback from classmates and teachers, and hearing and talking to a variety of people. So school time is more used for practice you can't get at home, and homework is meant more for, let's memorize this new vocab. Let's learn how to put a verb together. I really love that online program for both of those because it instantly gives the kid feedback so that we don't have a situation where they're practicing it wrong, at least not for very long. 5, design area 5, so much is new. So a lot of times they're going to practice it, they're going to do it wrong, we're going to talk about it, they're going to fix it, and then we're just going to keep developing that. But as far as those thought processes where you really see a lot of change in how a kid thinks about things, or a large amount of that revising knowledge or predicting things comes through our discussion of culture. They look at what they know about American life, and as they learn new stuff about Hispanic life, they can kind of revise stereotypes that they've had or formed, or compare it to something that they know so that they can relate to it. That's where a lot of that revising and defending and hypothesizing happens, as far as those bigger ideas. For everyday lessons, I really consider which information, or that information for the day, whether we're working on a certain set of vocabulary or structures, which EL will that information feed and help the kids be able to do better. And then that's how they will practice or engage with that information on a daily basis. As far as levels of engagement, keeping them excited, obviously a variety of games, different activities, choice. There's a lot of choice in my room. Oh, you feel like you need to work on speaking? Here's the activity that you need to do if you feel like you're weak in speaking. You are weak in listening. Oh, here are the activities you could choose today if you feel like you need to work on your listening EL. And every year I hope to curate more of those so the students can practice where they feel like they have the most need. Design area 7 is engagement. I just talked about that. Engagement using a lively pace, student choice of practice activities. Design area 8. My classroom is organized to make it user-friendly for the students. Supplies are handy. Procedures are consistent. The seating arrangement is made for comfort and to make it easy for me to move about the students and work with kids. There's center tables in the middle, so if I need to pull students in a small group to talk about things, I can do that, and I can still monitor what's happening with all the other kiddos. Design area 9, I'm not writing lesson plans. How am I going to be there for my kids? How am I going to build those relationships? I do, however, make sure I greet them at the door. I watch their demeanor to see if it's unusual for them or different than the day before, and I'll address that and encourage the students. As far as academically, no answer is wrong. Every answer you give is a right answer because you tried in something that is difficult and that it is new. And the idea is that we can just make your answer that you've given better. Obviously, negative interactions, I deal with it as best I can in the moment, as calmly as I can. And then I really take some time to reflect on that. How, with that kid and how I reacted to it, how could I do that situation with that type of kid better in the future? And then design area 10, working with students of many different levels and personalities, asking the right types of questions is huge. I almost never answer questions without encouraging the student to be able to find the answer themselves. I often ask students why their answer is the answer, whether the response is right or wrong. I want them to be able to defend why they said it. Why, oh, you said the answer is A. Well, why is the answer A? And if they can't tell me why they chose that answer, then they're not really ready to answer the question, and I'll probe them to go back and come up with a good reason before I tell them if it was technically the right one or the wrong one. As long as they have a good reason why, I just want them to be strong thinkers. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you.